So Jaleel, can you explain to the group how this is going to work?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Okay, so everybody, welcome to the town hall with Teresa. And one thing that you do need to know is that everything that you need is accessible from the bottom of the screen down below. The entire menu is there. So there's a chat button. If you have any questions, go ahead and type your question in the chat, and we'll order those in the order they came in, and then we'll have those answered once we get to the Q&A session of the event. So if you have any questions, if you're having any technical issues, just go ahead and send a chat to me on the live chat, a message, and I'll keep my eye on that to help you out.
And then so Jaleel, after Teresa speaks, that you will read the questions to Teresa and we'll have her answer them?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. One thing I noticed on the right on that chat bar, because I clicked on it, you can write to everyone, or should they just write to Jaleel?
They could just go ahead and write to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to publicly answer the question, so it should be fine.
Okay. So I am thrilled to pass this microphone over to the next mayor of Florence, Teresa Myers Ervin.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello.
Hey, Teresa.
I tell you, I am the type, when I one of my services to the world is I'm actually a minister as well as a nurse and city councilwoman and realtor. So when I engage, I like to talk and have people respond back. So that's the minister in me that responds back. But first of all, thank you for taking your time to come here today to meet with me. I do want to acknowledge the fact that right now, our whole world is going through a crisis. We're dealing with COVID-19, and we have a lot of unknowns, especially about how this particular virus will act, even when it becomes summertime. And we're looking at maybe a year out before we even have a vaccine. So I do want to acknowledge that is occurring. And for the Zoom meetings, having the town hall as well as our city council meetings, we're doing this in order to protect the public, because we do want to honor the request of our state and federal government by keeping a distance between us. I know for some, it may seem to be hard to be home and being out of work, especially because a lot of jobs have actually had to put their employees on furlough. And then there's some business that's been categorized as non-essential that is not even open. So right now, our whole society, especially our United States, we're going through a crisis, and I do want to acknowledge that and have everyone to do whatever we can to support each other through this. We know that some of the most vulnerable people are our seniors, but also people are immune compromised. But also, I tell our young people, please don't get a false sense of security. Young people are suffering as well, and there are young people who are passing from COVID-19. So I'd like to encourage all of us, don't get overwhelmed about what we're hearing in the news right now. Sometimes you have to back away from all the negative input to think about what we can do positive in order to get through this crisis. I fully believe that we will make it through. So thank you, first of all, for being here. And I want to encourage you. And I see Dr. Duncan there. I know she would back this. Please wash your hands. Everybody is, and a lot of people are freaking out because they cannot find hand sanitizer. And I laugh, I tell people, I say, what did people do before we had hand sanitizer? We use soap and water. So if you got soap, you've got dish detergent, just wash your hands at least 20 seconds. And be careful not to put your hands to your eyes, nose, or your mouth. And that's usually called the death zone, because that's where we usually introduce things into our system. So simply wash our hands. And if we can disinfect different items in our home that we use a lot. And I'm not going to take a lot of time of going in the medical part of that, but I will encourage you, you can check out the CDC, the World Health Organizations, and get involved that way to see what things you can do. Also, you're welcome to visit my website, which is also www.florencemayor.com, and my Facebook page, because I do post literature to keep us updated with what we can do to help get through this crisis. But I want to talk to you today, as been stated, about three things that I know is pressing on a lot of people's mind. And a lot of people speak about downtown development, community development, and also recreational development. Now, I do want to state that for one thing, for me, I'm actually chair of the Florence Community Development Committee, which is an ad hoc committee created by the city council to oversee community development. When I ran for city council in 2010, my platform was community stabilization and redevelopment. And that was close to my heart because even as a young person coming up, one of the things I noticed in proceeding into my nursing career was I started to look at things that affect community. And the things that affect community will affect a person's health, mental and physical health. So community development and public health for me is essential as a nurse. So when I started to look at the community and I thought about a lot of things that was being occurring in our community, there were a lot of abandoned houses that's happening throughout Florence. Then not only that, we didn't have a system of where these homes were being replaced. I look now and I'll especially call out the areas of District 1 and 2. These particular communities are historical communities surrounding downtown. These communities over time have lost values because when homes were purchased on tax sale, a lot of time they went to being utilized for rental properties. And people sometimes take rental properties and devalue them. They get all the use out of it, they will resell them, but would not repair them. And then when it was not repairable, they will leave them abandoned. And for homeowners in the community, that affects that homeowner's value for their house as well. So I want to know what could be done to stop this. So I ran for city council, and when I won the position of city council, my first action was to bring this to the city council to see what we could do about it. We worked on that, and through this process, I'm the first council person throughout the history of the whole city of Florence to ever get $3.5 million set aside specifically for community redevelopment. And I know you may say that's not a lot of money, but that's seed money. It's because of that $3.5 million, we were able to bring bankers to the table. When we initially started our first meeting, we had a banker that came from Columbia, South Carolina, but no one from our home city of Florence. So and when I said we, I mean myself and also the city staff, city manager, we didn't give up. We plugged away to when we finally got a banker involved and we started building. We made sure that we wanted to have this money come back through the communities. So we focused on we wanted local contractors and we wanted minority contractors to be involved. So we added that and we started to build. We built that first home. And when we started doing that and other people started seeing the bankers, then they started to want to get involved because you have to have something to start that process of people being willing to invest in your community, in your city. But to make a long story short, from that, we won a state award. And not only that, and the state award was for economic development through strengthening the community. And by doing that, other cities are now looking at what we're doing in Florence to rehabilitate and stabilize community. Born out of that project, we now have Vista Place, Old Carver Station, and we have over 17 plots of land that we purchased on Pine Street that will be the historical Pine development. And I know some people say, well, why are you doing this and what is it going to do? The reason why we're doing this is that when we traveled, I would like to give credit to when I was on the road, it was myself, Councilwoman Blake, and also Councilman Robert Hill, who's no longer on the council with us. But he, myself, Scotty Davis, and Philip Lucadou, we drove from South Carolina up to Spartanburg. I think we might hit Greenville during that time period too. And also we went to Georgia because we wanted to see how these particular projects were being done in different areas. But from that, we have finally got new homes being built and people are actually purchasing homes and they're coming in the communities because I always tell everyone, I want Florence to be such a beautiful city that people would have a hard time choosing where they want to live because of all the advantages, because we will be one city that invests in the whole of our city. And when it comes to community development, when you have a downtown that you're investing in and growing, one of the key success that is noted when you have a growing downtown is walkability. In other words, the people surrounding your downtown should be able to walk safely downtown to enjoy that. So by having a stable community, you produce a stable downtown because you have foot traffic. You need a downtown where people can walk through and be able to seek the services there. Now with downtown development, I really want people to understand. I hear a lot of people trying to take full credit about what's happening downtown. Downtown started flourishing in 2010, coming up to 2011. I was elected in 2010. In 2011, February, we adopted a comprehensive plan for the city of Florence, South Carolina. Now, it's through that plan that we work together as a council. We developed various packages that provide incentives to have businesses to come back downtown. The Hotel Florence project is one of the first projects that we initiated with. And that project has been a success. There was a lot of naysayers saying that this was never work. Downtown was not going to do this or do that. But I want to say that from that 2010 council, myself, the mayor, Councilwoman Blake, and Buddy Brand, we are the only 4 left who started downtown development to be successful. I want you to hear that, 4 of us. We started that by designing a plan to get incentives in place and to attract businesses. So this started with stability back then. Yes, there are a lot of people who tried things before, but it wasn't successful. We created success in our downtown. Not only that, when it comes to our recreational department, we have worked hard to make sure that we can provide activities for all levels of skill sets and also all levels in the city of Florence. I will dare say that we have partnered with various individuals to make this happen. One of the things that was in place was the Florence Tennis Center. And with that tennis center, it's been hosting, and I think Dr. Duncan, you might have seen some of the various activities that have been hosted there through our tennis ram. But not only that, when I came aboard, one of my things I remember I sat down and I talked to the mayor, being a new council member. I told him, with the tennis center, I would like to see that actually be an athletic complex. In other words, not just tennis, but other activities that we can have groups of people come together so that people can be able to intermingle. Because I believe in inclusiveness. I believe that oneness of Florence means that we all need to come together, regardless of what our cultural backgrounds are. We need to be a strong Florence by working together. I tell everyone, and a young man really stressed this to me years back, because I've heard it before, but when he said, Mr. Ervin, he said, I hear people talking about race here and race there. But he said, don't they realize we are one race? We're the human race. And this was a young man in his teens. And that stuck to me, to have a young person say, in other words, saying, a lot of you older people don't realize we're just one race. And the young people operate on that fact. We are simply one race of people, the human race. And that is the philosophy I want to see the city operate with. So with our tennis center, it was my desire to see other athletic, facilities placed there. And you may be aware that we passed a bond that will actually affect this. We're presently prepping. We've already have land purchase. We're going to put baseball fields out there where the tennis center is located. Not only that, we can also place a track there. And the reason this track is really important, one of the things that people don't realize, we really don't have a lot of places here in Florence where we can host big events and track events. So, and I'm gonna tell you now, I'm a former track athlete. I anchored the 440 at West Florence in high school. I always wanted to run distance, but they said I was too fast. They really had me run anchor. So track for me is close to my heart, and I understand the need to have a good track for that. So we're gonna actually have a track out there so we can host track events. So we have track, we're gonna have our baseball fields out there. And the good thing about having all the baseball fields there, now we're gonna bring various areas. All the children can come together from the different parts of Florence and play at one particular field. But we'll still have our community fields that they can practice at. But our big events, baseball and track, can now be at the tennis center there. Now we do have extra land that we've purchased, and who knows, maybe in the foreseeable future, maybe there will be a partnership to eventually put a football stadium out there, so we can have all these activities there at one athletic center. And that would be something I would love to see, but I know that's going to require some partnership. And I wanted for us to be able to work with our other bodies of government, through our county government, as well as our school boards. We need to come together to be able to work and make this come to fruition. So for me, community, recreation, and downtown, which is economic development, all of it works together. to have a healthy, strong city, we need all of these to be a part of it. I just simply wanted to let you know that. And I do want to tell you a little bit too, that you may not know and know my family, but I'm blessed. I was born here in Florence, South Carolina. I tell people I was literally born on the corner of Harrow and Sumter Street. My a friend of my mother, who was a midwife, came from Pepsico, South Carolina to Florence, South Carolina to deliver me. So I was born at home. So when I literally say this is my home, this is my home. And if on Sumter Street, I stayed there. Me, my mother, father, all of us, we lived there until my father passed. My father passed 1 month before my 7th birthday. So after my father passed, we did eventually move to another home, which was located on Gladstone Street. And that is where I stayed and I attended the Florence Public School. And from there, I went to college at Florence Darlington Tech, as well as Francis Marion. So for me, my education was all here in Florence, and I chose for it to be that way. I did have opportunities where I could have went away to college, but I chose to stay home in Florence because I had such a close knit and I was always involved in things at an early age. I chose to stay here. And it's because I was here, I did meet my husband, Mr. Lauren Ervin, and we've been married now for several years now. And we do have 3 beautiful children. And they also chose to have the education here. They're all alumni of Francis Marion. My oldest is here in Florence, and he works in real retail here while he's in college now to get his 2nd degree in engineering. My youngest son, who's my middle son, he's presently a resident, just elected chief resident at the medical facility where he's serving at in North Carolina. And my daughter, Casey Ervin, she's on her 2nd degree at Francis Marion because she's opted to leave from the realm of, I'll say, legal services. She was preparing to go to become an attorney, but she found while working in the ER at McLeod that she preferred medicine. So she's actually a junior in nursing. My husband here, he works with one of the dealerships and he's over the auto bodies and also mechanics. That is a little bit about my family history. So we're rooted here. I love the city of Florence, and my services has earned me the honor from Francis Marion of receiving an honorary doctorate of humanities. That is a little bit about me personally, and I would like to open up the floor for some questions. I know I gave you a lot of information, but I want to give you a quick spiel of who Teresa is, and I want to know if you got any questions that you want to pose for me that I could possibly answer for you.
Well, it looked like Suzanne had a question about, she said she's wondering about transportation to the athletic center. Can you say something about our local bus status?
Sure. As you know, we have a local services PDRTA. PDRTA provides a great amount of services throughout the city of Florence. There's some free bus service that was occurring going out to the business district over around the civic center. And right now, PDRTA, it runs down Sumter Street, which also goes to Cashware. So there will be PDRTA access there. But also one of the good thing about what we're doing too, while we're planning and while we're developing the baseball fields there will actually be a walking path. So people who want to walk can actually walk from the complex through the community to downtown. So there will be walkability from downtown to the center as well. But PDRTA will be a good source for transportation. And also, when it comes to contributing to PDRTA, the city of Florence contributes the highest amount of money to the PDRTA in order to keep it going and growing, because we do know that we have a large amount of citizens who utilize the service. And people need to realize that people use PDRTA. Yes, some of them drive, but they choose to ride PDRTA and not utilize their cars. And a lot of time what I found that when we have people who are coming here, especially from up north, that they originally used to be surprised that the PDRTA did not provide more of an extended services. So those are one of the things that we have been working with PDRTA to see what we can do to extend those services so the citizens can utilize that, whether you have your own transportation or not. And for people who are environmentally sensitive, they realize that the number of cars that we can keep off the road, we can also help by utilizing PDRTA. And I hope that answered that question for you, Suzanne. Do we have any other questions along that line of anything about where we're going in the future with what we have? And if you don't have any questions at this point, I do want you to also realize that as a city council, we've actually already looked at several things that we've got projects planned out for the next 5 years. And I say that because of when I told you I came aboard in 2010, I'm a nurse. And one of the things we like to do, we plan. And when we plan, we look at what we've done, we evaluate what has been done, we look at what can be done better. And I want to say at this point for myself, that is one of the reasons why I'm running for mayor, is because as a nurse, as a medical profession, I am trained to look at situation, see what we're doing, and evaluate is it effective or not, and if what can we do to make it better. So when I look at the city, I see the city as the area that I live in, that I see a lot of things that we're doing, but my desire is to see what can we do better, because I firmly believe that we are under the charge to create what I call generational success. That means that what we are doing now would affect the generations to come. And we and I especially want to leave a Florence that's better than what it is when I started. I believe that we are better than we were in 2010. 2020 is a new year, and I want us to move forward and not move backwards. I know that there are individuals who desire to have certain leadership, but I'm the leadership that believes that leadership is effective when it is good for everyone, not for a selected few or not for an isolated group. What I do for the whole of the city of Florence. And if you look at my history, one of the things you can find, even on my ethics report, I've never benefited financially for anything that I've done for the city, because I believe when I invest in this city, I'm investing not only in my future, but your future and our children's future as well. And that is why I'm telling you, I know I'm the best candidate to continue doing what we're doing right now. I've served, I know the process. I'm the only one who's running, who's ever led a project that has been successful. I'm the only one who's led and developed a project who's running. None of the other candidates have, none. I'm the only candidate who's brought forth things, had them brought before council, voted upon, and passed. Some have done things for resolution, but that's giving reward for work that someone else has done. I believe that as a council person, as a mayor, you need to have a body of work that you've established to show your ability to be a public service. And I believe if you look at my page or if you talk with me, you'll see I have that work. I've done the work and I will continue to do the work. And I'm the candidate to lead this city forward. And I'll once again thank you for being here today. And at this time, I would like to just turn it over to Suzanne to give us some guidance of how we can proceed from this point, if there are no other questions at this time.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
This is Loretta
Hi, Ms.
Slater.
Loretta, how you doing?
All right. I have a question. Like right now, with the students being home and all that, we had thought about like making it, how would you think about when you being mayor to look going forward in making the city Wi-Fi free Wi-Fi for everyone?
Ms. Loretta, I'm gonna tell you that is a good question. This is actually a question that we looked at before prior. It would probably been around in the latter 20, I'll say maybe 2012, someplace up in that area. And there was
Right.
actually an organization that came forward to look at that. I think that that is something that we do need to revisit. And especially what's occurring now, we've had so many students who are, home now. And
Yes.
I know the district worked out some things in order to be able to get internet access. Now, for me as mayor for the city, I would love to see a partnership developed between myself and through the school board, as well as also the county, our leading government officials, for us to work together to see what we can do to make that a reality. Because I believe and I know that the future is going to be internet based. And just right now, COVID-19 is going to be with us, regardless of whether we find a cure or not, that it's going to be with us. And we don't know what's coming in the future. That's going to put us back again, what we're doing now, meetings on the internet. So yes, as mayor, I would like to look and see what can we do about having that in place for the whole of the city. And if the county is with the county, I believe that as leaders, we're obligated to look at that at this time again. And as mayor, I will bring that forth again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions?
Suzanne has a question. How is your leadership different than the current mayor and or your opponents?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to leadership, I need for everyone to understand that as a governing body, we are what we call a council strong, mayor weak. In other words, our council governs by having the ability to vote and determine where the city goes. The mayor would be, myself, would be a person that would have to be able to listen, be a part with the city manager, go out, seek information, and bring that information back to the governing body, to the city council, so we would be able to make informed judgments. And one of the things that I've found working with our present mayor is our communication skills. We're able to communicate well, and he communicates well with the city council members. Now, how does that differ from other candidates? Being a nurse, one of my skills is the ability to communicate, to read body language, and to be able to listen, but also be able to talk back and give information, and also be able to give clear direction. So I have those skill sets. But one of the things that's going to separate me from the other opponents is called honest communication. I am a person, I'm very honest and direct. I'm not going to try to give you part of information so that you would make the decision I want you to make. I'm going to give information so that every council member will be equally well informed, so that we can come together, that we can discuss the information and make the best decision that is for the whole of this city. Because if we don't communicate well and inform everyone, you're going to have a leadership that's going to make decision for select groups. I don't believe in that. Our select group is the whole of the city of Florence. That is where you can find a difference, is that I'm going to communicate for everyone in this city, for us to have what's best for everyone, not just for a select group. And definitely, I'm not going to communicate to have something for my friends, our family. I want what's best for all of us. And that's going to be the difference. Honest, proven leadership. And that's me. If you like what you're seeing with Florence now, you like me, because I'm a good communication and I work well with our mayor. And I would want all of the council to be able to work well with me and to trust the fact that when I speak and when I communicate, I'm being honest with you. And that would be the different honest communication.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
All right, so the next question is from Janiqua. She says, I'm a Florence County resident. How often has the city and county collaborated in the past? Do you have an example of this collaboration?
Janiqua, when I first came upon city council, we had a committee that actually served with, we had 3 council members from the county and 3 from the city. We would come together and communicate. We talked about issues that the city and the county had and things that we could work together on. One of the things that was produced by that communication was a study that was done along the corridor of Palmetto Street, which is the area between the airport that also goes all the way out to Francis Marion to the university. That corridor is transitioned out to county. So it's not city, but it's county. But the important thing is that's a gateway into the city. So we've had the studies done, and the county and the city are both aware of them. So we are working, and we want to continue to work with the county to improve that corridor. And we have times here right now, we are discussing some things about the possibility of what may happen with a penny sales tax. But over time, that collaborative committee, for whatever reason, has not been meeting together. But the good thing about it is, as for right now, the new chair for that particular committee is Councilman Brand, and he stated that he wants to call a meeting so we can all, come back and meet together. And so that corridor development, working on that is one thing that we are working together. But if you look at projects such as the Civic Center, that is a city and county project that we work together to finance. So we do have the ability, and we have worked together in the past. And I do want to see us have a stronger relationship as I'll give County Councilman Mumford this credit. When I first became a city councilwoman, he told me, he said, Teresa, remember the city sets in the county. And, and that is so true. And the thing about that, since we're setting the county, we need the county services too. So as mayor, I will push to make sure I help to develop and have a relationship with the county, because neither one of us can be effective without each other. It's as simple as that. We've got to work together. And I've had some conversation with individuals, and I told them, I said, only things as a city and a county, when we work together, we both have to be sure that we can do what's best for the entities involved. As mayor, there are certain things that the city need that the county may not need. So as mayor, I need to be sure that I can get what's best for you as a city citizen as well. So I will labor to get that done, but also foster a relationship as well. Thank you.
All right, Janiqua, if you have a response, you're welcome to unmute your microphone. If not, then we can move on.
No,
But
thank you.
your response, please.
Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and it looks like Loretta has a question.
Yes. I got one more. It's really a nice comment. I appreciate you stepping forward to the resolution that we presented to the city. I know you are going to work toward, getting that renewables. We got renewables in there, so much of renewables that we trying to reach to a certain year. By it's put on hold right now. I know with you becoming a future mayor, you gonna see to that, well, we might don't get to 100% at the year we wanted to, but I know you'll be working toward, getting much as we can. So I want to thank you for sponsoring that resolution, and looking forward to working with the city on that.
Well, thank you. And I just want to let everyone know, when it comes to renewable and it comes to our climate, as we know there's science, and then we know there's things that people believe. But what we do know, that we can see that there's formidable changes in our climates, in our seasonal changes. So I do believe that anything that we can look at and realistically make happen, that we need to look at it so that we can do the best we can to slow down the climate change. Whether we believe it's real or not, there is something occurring. So whatever we can do to help take care of this planet, we need to do it. So that is why I'm willing to look at the things that we sponsored in the resolution to see what part we can do as a city to be able to make this occur. Because regardless to what, as a nation, we are going to have to look at what we're doing to save our planet, because we do have so much materials that have been placed into the dumping into the grounds, the also things that have been deposited into the oceans. So we do need to look at what we're doing with our climate and our environment. And I, just like with human life, we've got to look at taking care of our planet, because we got to have some place to live. I don't think we're ready to go to the moon yet, so we've got to take care of this planet. So thank you, Ms. Loretta, for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so this is going to be the last call for questions before we hand this off to Suzanne. So any other questions? Last call.
Well, Jalea, before you hand off to Suzanne, since we're coming to the close, I want to say thank everyone for coming today. This was the first opportunity that we've had to do a town hall on the virtual world. And so with what we've learned today, what we'll do, we'll look at that and see what things can be done to make next Monday town halls more accessible, making sure that everyone can get on. But Jalea, I want to, thank you for designing and setting this up for us. Suzanne, thank you for hosting. I appreciate it. To everyone attending, thank you for taking the time to come and to meet me. I've been serving since 2010. And I hope that you see the value of having me to serve as mayor in 2020, because the things that I have invested into my life in the medical care, taking care of the clients, I will place that same care, protection, leadership, and guidance in the position as mayor to take care of you as a citizen, take care of our city council and our city staff. Thank you again, and I truly will let you know with all of my heart, I know I'm the best candidate. I know the ones who are running, and I'm the best of the candidate. I have the most history of leadership, and I'm an honest leader, somebody you can depend on. So at any time, please go to my website, which is www.florencemayor.com, so that you can read more about me, but also you can send questions in and also get prepared for our next town hall. But once again, to everyone here today, thank you for being here. And most of all, thank you for being a part of Florence, because Florence is only as strong as we as individuals who are here make it. So everyone is important and your voice really counts. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
One other attribute I think you have, Teresa, what it speaks to your integrity and your honesty is, and I think you have training in mediation. But
Yes.
Teresa and I haven't agreed on everything. I'm quite the progressive liberal Democrat. But we can have an honest, educated, respectful conversation. And that speaks to her honesty and her integrity. So I have volunteered to organize the volunteers for Teresa. If you would like to help in her campaign, you go to her webpage, and there's up the top, you can click on volunteer, you can fill out the form, and I will be in touch with you. There are very simple ways as a volunteer. You could say, hey, can I put a yard sign? You have a yard sign. I want to put one in my yard. I have some yard signs on my front porch. You're welcome to come take them off my front porch. Microsoft loan, Brian, up on, what's your address, Brian?
(1415) West Evans Street.
There's a lot of Teresa's materials at the Microsoft Loan Express, 1415 West Evans Street. We're going to be doing a lot of this campaign virtually, so there will be phone banking to do, but we do need the community visibility. So getting posters in your windows, yard signs in your yard, it would be very helpful. The last thing I want to say is, just for your information, May 8th is the last day to register to vote in the primary. So if you know anyone that's not registered, May 8th is the last day that they can register to vote in the June 9th primary. We have not heard from the Election Commission that the primary is going to change. So you can vote absentee. The last date to get your absentee ballot in is April 25th. So if you want to vote absentee in the primary, April 25th is the last day. So again, I want to say thank you to Teresa during this, tragic time in our history. I was so pleased to be at the City Council virtual today and see Teresa advocating for the homeless. See Teresa advocating for the people who are out of work. I was like, that's why I'm going to vote for her. There she was, advocating for the city to allot more money for My Brother's Keeper program. Teresa, maybe you can say just one thing about that, because you know more than I do.
Yes, we're in a situation now that a lot of the services, especially who've been being provided to our homeless, a lot of these organizations are now being closed because of COVID-19. My Brother's Keeper is one of the main one who's still left open. But not only that, sometimes people think that the only people who are going to get a meal is someone who's homeless. It truly is not. There are families who are what we call the working poor. they're working and working multiple jobs, but still do not have the money to meet all their needs. So they will go somewhere where they can receive a meal. But now with COVID-19, we have so many non-essential businesses, and they're saying non-essential, that are closed. And so we have people who are not having a steady income, who are now having to seek other sources to get food. My Brother's Keepers serves meals to anyone who come past that door, because it's doing takeout. I don't care who you are. When you come past there, they give you a full, balanced meal. And it's because of that that I advocated that we give them more funding, because actually one of the representatives who came, he called and he spoke with me. He explained, Teresa, the churches are no longer providing meals. I asked him, are they helping? He said, yes, they're helping, but we still have such a high demand. Some of the other institution who was doing parking lot ministry, we were feeding people, they're not operating anymore. So we're at a time period now when we have so many people who are either homeless, are working poor, are people who are out of work just because of our COVID-19, who need a balanced meal. We also have a lot of children who are out of school. So there are families who are going out there and getting that meal for them. Yes, I know the school district has been giving out breakfast and maybe lunch bags to the children, but you still need a dinner. So my Brother's Keeper serves in the evening time so people can have that dinner. And it's important that we make sure we keep them funded and keep them going, because it is a nonprofit and the people who are working are volunteers. So I know they will appreciate any kind of financial support that we can give, but also if any volunteers who could come there. And that is why I advocated today, because I know that we're not sure when we're going to be able to come back to full operation, but we need to make sure that the money is there for this organization to help those who are in need right now. So that's why I advocated so hard today to make sure we got that funding, and we did increase the funding for them. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everyone, for spending an hour with us this evening. I'll hope to see you next Monday, 5:30. And I believe we'll be using the same format, but we'll have to see, like I did say earlier, it said we were sold out and all I see is 10 people. So I'm not sure what happened, but we'll figure it out. Thank you so much. Be safe, wash your hands, stay home. We're saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
All right.